What's up, everybody? I am joined once again for the first time in a while. My co-host Eros Ethos. Tell him how you doing.
Doing well. How are you doing, Headless?
Not bad. I'm excited. I got the Soxolit up and working. I've got all of the tubes working. I've got videos to go over, and the kitty is very, very confused, frightened,
Oh,
frightened,
by
confused.
the Alchemy?
Well, I mean, it's strange. It's making noise. It's using water. It's standing up, kind of awkward. So he's very ready not to be there, but it's fun. So let's do some reading first, and then we'll go over the video. Guys, share this link if you're watching. If there's anybody there, let's get this pumped up.
All right. I believe we're on 7.
Mhm. Perfection of medicine.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. All right. If the tincture of the philosophers is to be used for transmutation, a pound of it must be projected on 1,000 pounds of melted soul. Then at length will a medicine have been prepared for transmuting the leprous moisture of the metals. This work is a wonderful one in the light of nature, namely that by the magistry or the operation of the spagyrist, a metal which formerly existed should perish and another be produced. This fact has rendered that same Aristotle, with his ill-founded philosophy, fatuous, for truly when the rustics in Hungary cast iron at the proper season into a certain fountain commonly called Zifferbrunnen, it is consumed into rust, and when this is liquefied with a blast fire, it soon exists as pure Venus and never more returns to iron.
Hmm.
Similarly, in the mountain commonly called Kuttenberg, they obtain a lixium out of marcasites, in which iron is forthwith turned into Venus of a high grade and more malleable than the other produced by nature. These things, and more like them, are known to simple men rather than to sophists, namely those which turn one appearance of the metal into another, and these things, moreover, through the remarkable contempt of the ignorant, and partly too on account of the just envy of the artificers, remain almost hidden. But I myself in Istria have often brought Venus to more than 24, 38 deg- 24, okay, then in parentheses it says 38 degrees, so
Hmm.
that the color of soul could not mount higher, consisting of antimony or quartile, which Venus I used in all respects as other kinds. But though the old art
He keeps saying Venus instead of copper. So is he talking about the same thing as copper? Because he's talking about the elevation of iron to Venus, not copper. So is he talking about sort of like the feminine nature of these things, or is he talking about the actual metal of Venus?
I think copper.
You think so?
Yeah, cause he's talking about that rust
Right.
liquefied.
Yeah, it could be because again, he's going by the colors and he's going by the textures and he's going by all the physical appearances. He's not able to do any more metallurgical analysis other than physical. So he could be seeing something that looks very similar to some sort of copper based uh, metal or alloy. Just
Right.
where
But
were you in the last paragraph? Oh yeah,
yeah. But though the old artists were very desirous of this arcanum and sought it with the greatest diligence, nevertheless very few could bring it by means of a perfect preparation to its end. For the transmutation of an inferior metal into a superior one brings with it many difficulties and obstacles, as the change of Jove into Luna or Venus into Sol. Perhaps on account of their sins, God willed that mag Magnalia of nature should be hidden from many men, for sometimes when this tincture has been prepared by artists and they were not able to reduce their projection to work its effects, it happened that, by their carelessness and bad guardianship, this was eaten up by fowls, whose feathers thereupon fell off, and, as I myself have seen, grew again. In this way, transmutation, through its abuse from the carelessness of the artists, came into medicine and alchemy, for when they were unable to use the tincture according to their desire, they converted the same to the renovation of men, and shall be heard more at large in the following chapter.
So he's talking about their projections. And he's talking about how these birds are seen without their feathers, regrowing them.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's talking about more metals than he's letting on, because the bird, these different colors come in the feathers, right? So,
Yeah, or it could be some weird, like, oxidation thing where something is sprouting out of the metal.
right, right. Interesting. But again, this all goes back to the more laboratory time you get in, the more you kind of understand this stuff. I'd love to see, get a really experienced alchemist in here to talk about like the crossovers. If you know of one, let me know. I'll send him a message. Get it on. I want to add more alchemical guests. So I shot a video earlier.
Again,
Oops.
DMSO.
All right. So first off, I thought I would be ambitious and start with a liquid that I know nothing or very little about other than what I've read about it, which is DMSO. And I have that pulled up here. Let's see, DMSO is dimethyl sulfoxide. And dimethyl sulfoxide, let me pull this one down real quick and let's go over this one. Dimethyl sulfoxide is a polar organic solvent, right? So that's what you have to use when you're doing alchemy using, solvent coagula. You got to use the solvent, whether that's alcohol, water, or dimethyl sulfoxide, derived from wood pulp. So it's just comes from wood, right? It's not anything weird. Known for rapidly penetrating skin and dissolving many substances. So this stuff is the super penetrator. You put it on your skin using some sort of ointment, and it'll take the topical ointment straight to the source, right? Its leading uses for medicine for bladder pain, right? Again, skin topical pain relief for the bladder. That's how much of a penetration it is.
Well, and it's interesting because interstitial cystitis is like too acidic.
Right.
Your bladder is too acidic, so there's something basic about this.
Right. Yes. I think it is more on the base scale than acid scale, but there's all sorts of acids and bases within wood pulp itself. There's so many different compounds. Its key properties include anti-inflammatory, analgesic, and free radical scavenging effects, but it can carry other substances into the body too, requiring careful handling and FDA approval for specific uses. So the FDA went to war with DMSO back in the 1970s. And the only place where you can get it in the United States now is from Canada, right? So treatment of interstitial cystitis, bladder pain, very, very rare that you would ever have it approved and given to you from a doctor, because doctors don't know what this stuff is intentionally. Topical off-label pain relief for musculoskeletal issues, shingles, blah, blah, blah. Potential uses. Oh, investigated for all this stuff, but they never use it. It's one of those substances that has been bouncing around the conspiracy community for years, because it helps with a lot of stuff. So here's the chemical formula. CH3 S. Oh, right. Byproduct of wood pulp, paper making. Colorless liquid with a slight garlic odor. That's the sulfur. Miscibility mixes with water and many organic solvents, right? Also, it has a very, very high freezing point. So it freezes at 66 degrees. Right? You can put this thing outside on a chilly day and it'll be frozen by the time you come back to it. It's that funny. On the same tip, it has a very, very high evaporation point. So it's going to take a lot of heat to get this thing to actually do the extractions of the stuff that I have in there. I took some milk thistle, right? And I used food grade milk thistle, the kind that you would buy over the counter for herbal preparations using just the pills. And I took them out of the capsules and used all that stuff because it's already food grade. You don't really have to worry about the quality. And then, so that's what I'm extracting. And it's also very fine as well. So here we go.
Seems like a good alcohol or
Mondays once
solvent.
again. I'm trying to do
Right,
an
that's why I wanted to
extraction
use it.
with DMSO. Now, if that sounds a little bit ambitious, it's because it is. DMSO is a compound with an extremely high boiling point that I'm trying to get a little bit lower using vacuum. So, I still don't have the right sizes. It's got to match one to the other, but
Very, very weak vacuum.
as soon as I hooked it up and there was a start in the vacuum, I started to see the condensation build up here in the second chamber. So right here we see it starting to build up and boil and come down a little bit. Right, and now the condensation chamber is starting to fill up with some DMSO as soon as I applied the vacuum. So I'm trying to get an extraction of milk thistle. Milk thistle by DMSO. Now that's going to be quite the extraction if I can get it to work. But let's see here. Can I still see? Oh, there's some vapors. You can see them starting to descend. Right? The vapors are starting to descend and sort of change based upon how much vacuum pressure, which I don't have much. I don't have much vacuum pressure at all. But just that little bit started the process. And you can see it right here. Not going up past this. My cooling condenser's not letting any of those vapors out. I got my pump working. I got my lines working. You can start to see some of the bubbles building up there. Taking some of this cool water, putting it into there, and causing the whole thing to start condensing. And you can see my little baggie full of milk thistle is starting to get wet with the MSO. Right now, normally what you would want to use is the alcohol solution, right? Alcohol or water, actually. You can do either or. But I'm trying DMSO because I thought I'd be a shithead. So,
Do you know what temperature you have to get alcohol to get it to start evaporating?
let me show you again just how much
74 degrees.
we're seeing come through here. Come down here as a vapor into this chamber. It's going to start filling this up, start condensing, and then we'll see
Is
what
that
happens.
bag holding up though?
But right now, it's moving in one direction.
All it
We
has to
haven't
do
seen
is
any
stop from going.
condensate start to stop at the bottom right there, right? Has it fully condensed back down into liquid into this chamber, right? So that's happening soon, as soon as this condenser gets it all back into liquid form. All right, I'm gonna turn down my heat a little bit, because I think that's, again, like, that's pure DMSO in there, right? Zero adulteration. And what I'm gonna do is, after this thing is done condensing a little bit, I'm gonna take all of that DMSO and then put that into some lotion. So I'm gonna have milk thistle DMSO infused lotion. It's gonna be fun.
Looks sick. The smoke coming down.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Well, this is my big ambition, so hopefully it comes through. If it doesn't, you'll be the first to know. But there is a lot more rolling boil going on right now, which is a good sign. But it's a really interesting substance. If you've never looked into DMSO before, check it out. There's very interesting videos about it on YouTube because, like I said, the FDA went to war against it and tried to take it off of the market back in the 1970s. So,
Did you have to sign for that too?
oh yeah, I got.
You're
the
so
most
suspicious.
history. I know, right? But you know, it's always fun to be safe, dangerous.
How long has it been going? What's it look like now?
I'm gonna go check real quick.
Well, he's not taking us with him, guys. Left out of the fun. But that's all right. Let's see.
Well, that loop is barely filling up at all. At this rate, it'll be 3 hours before it first goes over, if there's even enough for it to go over once. So probably needs a lot more in there. I only used half of what I had left of the DMSO. That shit is expensive. So we'll see how it works out. If not, there's other ways of extracting it. You don't need the huge apparatus. It's just that's what's used for industrial operations. And I'm not an industrial operation by any means. Hopefully, by this springtime, once everything starts sprouting again, I can get massive quantities of stuff and then start to do the extractions using, alcohol. Get a lot of it. So who knows? I could have an industrial operation with all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. I'm just curious, like,
Very true.
the difference between, like, how alcohol works out for you versus the wood stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be a much different thing. Again, this is just me playing around. So I don't have the type of material to even do mega extractions on yet. But once I do, that son of a bitch, because as you can tell, it's massive. I got the 200 milliliter one, which was way bigger than I expected, but shit, I can set it up. So why not? Who knows? Maybe I'll be selling some extracted roots or freaking funguses or all sorts of stuff later on this spring. So keep an eye out for that.
That would be dope.
Right? Who knows what you can use it in? But I mean, that's one of the reasons why you have shows like this, so you can go over all the different options and how you made them. It's good content. Now that it's up and functional, you're going to see a lot more of the oxalate, and maybe hopefully not using just DMSO, we'll actually get a full-scale operation going. Once it's all going together, it's actually quite entertaining to watch. So anyway, another one? What's that?
You said it's going pretty hard now, but it's going to take a few hours.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like so there's that loop that returns the liquid back into the container below, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that has to fill up all the way for there to be one cycle. And it's moved less than this much inside of the cylinder. So if that's an indicator of time, it's going to be a long time. If I even have enough fluid in the thing to begin with. So again, not using enough. But I'll let you know. I'll post pictures of the results later on tonight. So guys, keep an eye out for that. See what I got. But that's about all I got now. Next time we'll definitely have more material to go over, and maybe even a full extraction of something. Maybe pine needles. Why not? I can clean it out. There's a lot of tars and stuff, and pine needles would be an interesting extraction. You know,
That's true. I don't know. There has to be something more exciting that you could extract. Like
in the winter, then we need like a pound of it. You know. But I'll
I
find
don't know.
something. There's
Yeah.
barks, right? There's barks, there's roots, there's all sorts of other materials if you know how to get to them. What's that one I was reading about? White cedar. I think that's what it was. White cedar is a very interesting bark to holy sacred to the Native Americans. So
The
which
white is the like white bark.
I'm not sure if it was white cedar. It's something like cedar. But yeah, I'll get some of that maybe. Because you're supposed to dry it out in the oven. I did that once. Made the apartment smell amazing, but
Oh, okay, white cedar. Yeah. That's very this temperate region.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. So lots of stuff to come. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. Spread it around, and we'll try and miss less shows next time.
Yeah. We haven't been the best about it lately.
Right? That's okay. All right. See you guys later. I'll see you tomorrow on 777 with Nick.
Bye, everyone.